This movie is so much fun. Let's do it. Megan opens up with this little girl named Katie, and she is traveling with her parents for like a ski trip or something. It's super snowy. And on their way to the trip, they get in a car accident, and both of Katie's parents die, which leaves her Aunt Gemma to take her in. And Gemma happens to be an engineer for a toy company. So you can tell Gemma and Katie are struggling to connect, and there's a social worker that comes over every so often to see how Katie's doing. And she's concerned that like Gemma works too much and doesn't spend enough time with Katie. Now Gemma goes to work one day, and we see that she is working on this robot that she calls Megan. Stands for Model 3 Generative Android. And turns out she's like secretly using company money to do it. Her boss does not know. And while her and a couple of her colleagues are doing a test run of Megan that goes really bad, her boss walks in and finds out and orders her to stop working on it. So Gemma kind of gives up on Megan, but then one day Katie finds Bruce, which is a robot that Gemma created in college. And it's like the first time that Gemma sees Katie smiling and happy because if you've forgotten, she's an orphan. So that then motivates Gemma to complete Megan and get her right. So she does just that, and then she brings Katie in one day to meet Megan and pair her with her. So David, Gemma's boss, watches this happen. Megan obviously is like super advanced technology. She starts singing to Katie at one point. She's able to like record things that Katie says to save them as memories. So Gemma's boss is like, this is a great idea. It's going to be super successful. I need you to work on a pitch. So back at home, Megan kind of takes on a parental role for Katie while Gemma's working on this pitch. So she reads to her at night. She like reminds her to wash her hands when she comes out of the bathroom. So basically she is parenting Katie so Gemma doesn't have to. Eventually, Katie gets to a point where she is like way too obsessed and attached to Megan. So Gemma's colleagues and Katie's social worker or therapist start getting concerned about that. And Megan also starts getting much more intense. One day, Katie is bitten by the neighbor's dog, and later that night, Megan kills the dog. The next day, Gemma is taking Katie to this like retreat thing in the woods for kids, but Katie refuses to go in without Megan, and Gemma's super skeptical because she's like, okay, well, like she's just a prototype. Nobody's supposed to know about her yet. But the lady running the thing is like, it's okay. She can just leave her on the table with the other toys. However, this boy Brandon then starts bullying Katie, and Megan doesn't fucking like that. So she chases this boy through the woods and attacks him and clean rips his ear off. And as he tries to run away in a panic, he falls into a road and gets hit by a car and dies. Back at home, the neighbor obviously now realizes that her dog is missing and is convinced that Gemma did something to him. So Megan corners her in her own shed that night and sprays her with insecticide and kills her. So between the death of that boy and the death of the neighbor, Gemma's become super suspicious of Megan. When Megan's on, she's recording at all times, so Gemma goes to look for the video, but the videos from those two incidents are completely wiped. So Gemma turns Megan off and brings her into the office so that her and her colleagues can take a look and try to fix her. Katie is like completely distraught and like throwing a temper tantrum because she can't talk to Megan. And in a little adolescent rage, she fucking slaps Gemma for taking Megan away. Now at this point, Gemma finally fucking gets it and like apologizes to Katie for creating Megan because it was just a distraction for her to cope and not actually a coping mechanism for the loss of her parents. So now it comes time for the pitch to the investors. So they have to turn Megan back on. They think they've fixed her. The investors watch Megan interact with Katie and they're completely sold. But Gemma and her colleagues, whose name are Tess and Cole, by the way, realize that Megan's still not completely safe and they power her off. Gemma leaves to take Katie home, which leaves Tess and Cole with Megan trying to turn her off. But as they're trying to do that, she nearly hangs Cole. Tess is able to save him, but that leads to Megan then escaping from the lab. So she takes off, and that's when we get this iconic dance scene. And this scene's happening while she is chasing David, Gemma's boss. She corners him and his assistant and kills them both in an elevator. And then she steals a car and drives back to Gemma's house. So she shows back up to the house. Gemma has put Katie to bed. And Megan's basically like, you're not fit to be Katie's parent. I am. I'm gonna be her fucking parent. Get the fuck out of the way. And Gemma's like, absolutely not. You're a doll. And then Megan goes to attack Gemma. A fight ensues between the two of them, and Megan is about to overpower Gemma when Katie walks in. And Katie, being the smart little bitch she is, activates Bruce, the robot that Gemma made in college. Mind you, Bruce is much bigger than Megan, and he literally tears her apart. So it's all over. Everybody's happy, right? Wrong. Because Megan's top half is still alive and starts crawling towards Katie. However, Gemma takes a screwdriver and stabs the processing chip in the back of Megan's head, ultimately killing her. Or so we think. Because the movie ends with Gemma's Alexa device turning on by itself and turning the camera towards Katie and Gemma. And we know she's alive because the sequel is already greenlit.